Hello everyone and a warm welcome to today's webinar. Myself, Riva Khan. I am working as Senior Analyst Artificial Intelligence at Carniq, and it's a pleasure to have you all with us today. We also have our colleague Dharmesh Patel. So over to you, Dharmesh.
Thanks, Riva, and hello everyone. Welcome to our webinar. So myself, Dharmesh Patel. I'm working as a senior cybersecurity engineer at Carniq. I have over 5 years experience in the automotive domain. I'm mostly involved in the development and testing activity for carAISuite tool, which we are going to discuss more in detail in today's webinar. So before we look at today's topic, let's first discuss about the agenda. So what we have in today's agenda. So first, I will take a couple of minutes to explain you about the Carniq and what we do here. Then we will see the compliance checks for the requirement specification in general manually how it performed. Then we'll also see the challenges associated with it, and next we'll see the Carniq way of mitigating these challenges. Then we'll see about the carAISuite tool and its architecture. Will then comes the most interesting part of today's webinar is the compliance checks live demo. Before we then close up with the Q&A session, I will share some of the customer stories we had for the carAISuite compliance checks. So without further ado, let's get started. So meanwhile, if you have any questions during the webinar, please don't hesitate to write them into Q&A section in Teams. We will take them all and try to answer all your questions at the end of the webinar. So talking about Carniq, so we have mainly two locations. One is in Munich, Germany, which is the headquarter. So all the organizational management activities and services run from Munich. And we also have another location is in Mysore, India. So all the R&D and preliminarily tool development activities are performed over there. So our organization mission statement is to expedite the security of next gen vehicle through disruptive innovations and technology. So you would notice all our activities and our tools are aligned with our mission statement. Talking about the business models, so we mainly focused on two areas. One is cybersecurity services and the other area is cybersecurity products. Talking about the cybersecurity services, so it involves all and around of ISO SAE 21434, starting with the cybersecurity analysis, for example, TARA analysis. Uh, Also, we do the cybersecurity development activity, testing activity, verification, validation. We also provide the cybersecurity trainings and, of course, the cybersecurity management. Talking about our products, so we have two ready-to-use products available. One is car security, which we had launched a couple of years back, which is the automotive cybersecurity process landscape, where we have a ready-made process available. You can easily tailor to your project need and it's readily usable. We also had some templates which can be directly used in your project. We also have another product which is our latest product, which is carAISuite, AI-based automotive engineering and compliance tool, which we will going to discuss more in detail how it works and what are its use cases in this webinar. So yeah, I think that was the short intro about the Carniq. Now I will hand over my colleague Riva to let us walk through the manually how compliance checks is currently performed. So over to you, Riva.
Yes. So Generally, when we talk about compliance checks, we are essentially ensuring that the requirement specification meets two things, two most important thing, which is the quality expectation, and the second one is the process expectation. Especially those are derived from the those which are derived from the frameworks like ASPICE. So the workflow typically revolves around three key steps. The first one being preparing the checklist, compliance checklist. This is where we translate all the ASPICE requirements, the internal quality guidelines into clear and review ready criteria. This criteria may include aspects like clarity and completeness of the requirements, the traceability, consistency, alignment with the process expectations. We can also think of it like a rule book, creating a rule book against which each and every requirement will be evaluated. The second step that we have is conducting the review. Typically, this is a collaborative activity, team activity, where multiple reviewers go through each and every requirement line by line and comparing it against the checklist that which was created as a part of the first step. And the goal here is not just to find the errors, or but also to ensure that no ambiguity, inconsistency, or gaps travel downstream into the design or testing. It is basically this process or this step is highly dependent on the expertise, availability, and focus of the reviewers. And finally, the comes the third step, which is documenting the review protocol itself. So everything that happens during the review, like maybe the findings or issues, reworks, closure notes, all of these things needs to be formally recorded, and these review protocols are later served as crucial evidence for the ASPICE assessments, demonstrating the process compliance. So overall, the approach works, but it is slow, heavily effort driven, and prone to variability. It's also becoming less practical as we know that the automotive systems are getting larger and more integrated, as well as more safety critical. So this brings me to the part where every automotive engineer feels deep in their bones, which is the challenges that comes along with this process itself. So in the challenges, we have the first challenge, which is extreme time consumption. So manual requirement review demands huge amount of time, as we saw that each and every requirement needs to be read, interpreted, cross-checked, and validated by the human reviewers. As requirement counts grows into hundreds or thousands, the efforts multiplies rapidly. This not only stretches the review cycles but also delay downstream development activities. Teams often end up struggling into to keep up with the pace of the system evolution, which impacts the project timelines significantly. The next challenge that people are facing in terms of compliance is prone to the human error. So in manual reviews, even though highly skilled engineers can miss subtle inconsistency, maybe some missing traceability links or ambiguous wordings. When hundreds of pages are reviewed in long sessions, the reviewers generally come across a term which is known as review fatigue, like causing attention drop, or it reduces the accuracy. So as we know that the human perception is limited, especially in large document with repetitive patterns. As a result, the quality become inconsistent and unpredictable across the reviewers and across the different projects. The third challenge that we face is generally the high cost of the rework. When requirement inconsistencies slips through early stages, and when they are discovered at a later stage, let's say during the design or during the implementation or during the testing, the fixing becomes exponentially expensive. Late rework also causes the ripple effect, forcing changes in the architecture, interfaces, test cases, and even in the safety analysis. Manual review often fail to detect these issues early enough, resulting in repeated cycles of rework and which inflates the project cost as well as the effort of the team. Which brings me to the next point for the challenge, which is poor scalability. So this manual review process does not scale effectively as the systems become larger and more complex, especially for domains like ADAS or cybersecurity. Larger teams are required, but adding more reviewers also increases the coordination overhead, like managing the meetings, alignments, version control discussions, and conflict resolutions. The process becomes slower and even more complicated instead of becoming faster. Ultimately, the scalability prevents teams from handling large requirement sets efficiently. The next point for the challenges is the lack of automation. In absence of automations, the teams are forced to repeat the same tedious step across every project, like rechecking the quality attributes, looking for the duplicates, verifying the consistency, updating the traceability. These repetitive manual workload leads to inefficiency and inconsistent results. Without automation, maintaining consistency and repeatability becomes challenging, especially across different projects. Which brings me to the last point of the challenges, that is difficulty in managing the audit trials. So for the ASPICE cybersecurity or functional safety assessments, complete evidence is something which is mandatory, like review protocols, findings, closure actions, minutes of review meetings, traceability. All these things must be accessible. Manually maintaining these records across multiple revisions and different teams becomes extremely challenging. Missing or incomplete evidence often leads to non-conformities during the assessments. Ensuring every artifact is properly documented and audit ready becomes a constant struggle. So these are the different challenges which clearly highlight a need for more systematic, scalable, and intelligent way to perform the compliance check. And this is exactly where our tool, carAISuite, comes in to bring more structure, consistency, and AI-driven intelligence to the compliance workflow. So to walk you through how we approach to these challenges and how carAISuite transformed this entire process, I will now hand it over to Dharmesh to take us through the carAISuite way.
Thank you, Riva, for explaining the challenges. So, as you seen, when we do manually compliance checks in day-to-day projects, we come up with these challenges. So, the solution for that is the car AI suite way. So, it enables the rapid and systematic development and compliance activity using artificial intelligence. So as you can see in the image, so as a project team members or project team can upload their input requirements in our tool, and our tool will automatically perform the compliance checks against the input review criteria which you provide, and it will automatically generate the reports. So it will generate the overview report as well as the detailed report. So using the car AI suite, the automotive compliance activity will be performed using the artificial intelligence, which lead to systematic, reliable, and quick result. So it will try to mitigate all the challenges which Riva mentioned just now. Now talking about the car AI suite tool itself, so it covers many use cases. So that's where the name comes, car AI suite. So basically, currently it supports three use cases. First is compliance. So as in previous slide I mentioned, so basically it checks the compliance or do the formal review for the cybersecurity, ASPICE, functional safety artifacts. The second use case is the generation, where our tool basically takes the inputs like engineering work products, system, software or hardware requirements, and then it's generate automatically the lower level requirements. It also generates the artifacts like process related work products, for example, cybersecurity plan, cybersecurity case, etc., ASPICE and functional safety related work products as well. So if you might have attended our previous webinar, we already explained in detail about the generation, how car AI suite supports generation use case. And of course, the third one is elicitation. So here you provide higher level requirement, for example, stakeholder requirement as an input, and our tool will be automatically elicited its requirement detail level and provide you the elicited report. So this is the major use cases covered by carAISuite. Now let's look at the carAISuite architecture itself. So on left hand side, you can see the development environment. So I believe all of you are familiar with these environments. For example, you might have used Git, Polarian, IBM DOS. So from this tool, you basically export to the standard format, for example, Excel sheet, PDF, Word document, or ARXML files. And this can be directly imported or uploaded to our tool, carAISuite. So first step in carAISuite will perform the pre-processing of your documents. It will store some of the required information and retrieve some of the requirements information from the backend database. And based on the use case what you selected, it will use the LLM and provide the result back. carAISuite will perform the post-processing activity to meet the output requirement and template, and it will provide you the systematic output in standard formats, for example XML report or Excel sheet, which directly can be imported to your uh, development environment. So this is the simple architecture. You can see, of course, backend technically it would be much more complex, but if you want to understand how does it work, then this is the simple architecture. Okay, then now comes the most interesting part. We will shortly see live how the compliance checks is performed by carAISuite tool. So in that case, I will hand over to my colleague Riva to show us like how we can use carAISuite for compliance checks. Over to you, Riva.
Okay, so here is the tool window. That is the initial part of our tool where if you have attended our previous webinars, you might be aware of the initial thing. We give two options to the user to create a new project or to load an existing project. So let us start by creating a new project. And as Dharmesh explained, there are three parts to the tools, which is the generation, elicitation, and compliance. Today, we will be having a look into the compliance part. So let me select the compliance option. And yeah, at this particular point, the user needs to give some basic details like the project name. So I will just give a project name. Then the user needs to select the project path. Since this is a desktop based tool, so I will just choose a path. The name of the ECU. So let's take an example of gateway ECU, and also provide a short description about the ECU itself. So I have already prepared the description, so I'll just put that. Yep. So then the user needs to select the work product, the type or the name of the work product which they want to generate. So since we are talking about the compliance, we will have a look into the software requirement work product itself. So here the user is given basically two options to choose from a group or the level. So groups, we have the work product segregated based on the ASPICE, cybersecurity, and functional safety. And in the level, we have it segregated based on the system, software, hardware, or general category as well. So user can either select one or even a combination of both. So I will just choose ASPICE and software requirements. At this particular point, the user needs to import the document, which is currently we accept in the CSV format. So I will just upload the requirement documents. I will be uploading two documents here, a system level requirement document as well as a software level requirement document. We will later see how both of these documents would be helpful. So here, this is software and this is system. So select the document type and import it to the project. So this particular screen which is visible is the Project Explorer view of our tool. where at the left side you will be able to see the files that we imported as the input, and all the output files will also be available to the user here. And at the right side we are able to see the compliance toolbar. So in the compliance toolbar we have a list of review criterias against which our requirements will be checked. So here we have some five review criteria. So I will just select all the different review criterias and keep it for running, since it will take a couple of minutes to generate. So for the above four, for the top four review criterias, user needs to provide only one requirement document, which can be like a system or a software, whatever we select at the initial part. So here software level requirement would be enough, but requirement document. So this is where why I added two different files, the software requirements as well as the system requirement, and I will keep it for generating. So the different review criterias that we have currently are syntax related. So syntax, as we know, while writing the requirement, the user, the requirement engineers generally follow some principles, like there are some years principles, smart principles, this kind of different principles are available, which has to be followed while writing the requirement. So this is where currently our syntax criteria, whatever we have in our tool, is based on the years principle. And the next that we have is the redundancy. So the tool try to see the duplicate requirements, or also even the semantically similar requirements, like maybe just with some different wordings, that but the requirement intent is same. So those all requirements is try to identify and also highlight those things to the so that we can easily find out those requirements, and then we can change it or modify it or remove those redundant requirement. The next two review criteria that we have is secure software updates and post development. So whenever we talk about these two things, there are certain topics which needs to be the requirements for those topics needs to be present when we talk about secure software update. Let's say we have like secure flashing related requirements, we have secure boot related requirements, signature verification related requirements. So all these requirements must be present, so that, or must be completely present in the requirement document to say that okay, the proper secure software update or post development related requirements are a review criteria is something which is fulfilled. And consistency is basically checking against the upper level requirement and providing the verdicts based on that. So Dharmesh, anything you want to add on?
I think, yeah, you pretty much covered everything. So as this is just for demo, so we already have predefined some set of mandatory review criterias, but of course, based on your needs, or whenever your projects might have, based on the work products, different review criterias, so we can also customize these things. So yeah, as Riva mentioned, so AI will backend perform these reviews, and will generate the report. So once the report is generated, we'll shortly look into it, how it looks, and what are the review findings you get from the tool. So of course, once the review report is available, somebody can just manually check what are the review findings and start working immediately. So we will also see, probably, can you just open Riva, the input requirements, maybe system or software? So yeah, so currently these are the requirements, and for example, if you would like to review it manually, then somebody manually have to cross check requirement. For example, I want to check the consistency between upper layer and the below layer requirements. Then manually I have to refer both the documents and go through each requirement one by one. And this will takes lot of time. And also there is we seen, if we don't have that much expertise, then there are chances that we miss something, or the review would not happen properly. So I think, yeah, that's why this tool is very important. It will at least give you quick result, systematic result, and then you can just have a look and it's ready to use for your project. Okay, so meanwhile, to save time, uh, what I would say, Riva, I will share my screen meanwhile just to
Yeah.
go through the customer stories, and then we'll come back to your screen. Probably once
Yes,
then
sure.
the report is available, then we can also look at the report. Okay, so hope my screen is visible. Uh, so as I discussed in the agenda, before I take up the question and we'll see the report, we'll talk about the customer stories, what we had done in past. So we had the request from German Tier 1 to verify the ASPICE compliance for the system and software requirements. So main challenges was high effort and cost, and also lack of experts. So of course they had the expert, but somehow uh, the expert was no longer available, and then review and the other activities was taking longer time. So their need was to reduction of workload on existing system experts, also systematic output they wanted, and they wanted the evidences to show in the assessment. So approach what we followed is we initially agreed on the customization, as I mentioned. So based on your project and you might have some additional review criterias, then we can decide on them, and we can integrate or update customize our tool accordingly. Then we use the carAISuite platform to review the system and software specification against the provided review criteria. And we also perform the just the regular meeting to see the intermediate outcomes. And finally, once everything is done, then we deploy our tool carAISuite to ensure the data privacy and the failure future updates. So this is one of the customer stories. We also got one more request, which was for the functional safety compliance for next gen ADAS platform. Their challenges, as you might know, that ADAS system has very complex and also so many requirements present in ADAS issue, and it is very safety critical application. So it should align with the ISO 26262 standard. Uh, so their need was to automate this tedious verification task, uh, enable the early defect detection, and of course empower the people, but not replace them. The expert I'm talking. So approach here we follow this the same. Initially, we agreed on the customization required for their review criterias. Then we perform the review using the carAI suite. Then we communicated the result with them, and then finally deployed our tool into their premises for the data privacy and the future updates. So these are the two customer stories which I wanted to share with you. I think if Riva, if it's
Yeah.
ready, then I can hand it over to you. Shortly, we will look into the generated report.
Yes. So the report is generated. I will
Mhm.
just share my screen quickly and open up the
Yes.
report. Yep. So our report, generally the report generated from the tool is in the HTML format where we have summary for each of the different review criterias. We have a verdict and a description why that particular verdict is assigned. So this is where we can see that in the syntax, our requirements are completely fulfilled because most of the requirement are in syntax, proper syntax to the years principle. redundancy we see majorly fulfilled because very few requirements are redundant. Consistency, post development, and secure flashing also we are able to see it is majorly fulfilled. So here this is the overall high level summary for the whole document. And below, if we go, we are also able to see each and every point where that particular thing has been identified, that okay, there are some requirements which are not proper, which are not compliant to the year's syntax. Then there are some requirements which are redundant requirements. So here we are able to see some 5 to 6 requirements are redundant, and they are also marked along with the redundant requirement IDs as well. And then we are able to see the inconsistent requirements. So inconsistent requirement are basically the requirements from the upper level document, whatever we have, and the system basically check against the system level, and if they are contradicting or they are inconsistent, then those things are also something which are properly identified. And below there are also cybersecurity and post development and secure flashing related. So here we are able to see there is a missing vulnerability management related requirements were missing in our software requirements, and secure flashing signature verification related requirements were something which were missing in our input documents. So this is how the report looks like. So a detailed analysis of each and every of the review criteria. Anything you would like to add on, Dharmesh?
Uh, I think at the end, you will also see the detail level. So each requirement, so all the input requirements, you can see against all these 5 review checklist point. So each requirement would be again then in detail level. You can review it here, and of course you see the above summary report where it will give you if those requirements are inconsistent or not matching to your review criteria. If there is some review findings, then you can directly address them from here. So I think yes, so currently we support in HTML format. Of course you can convert it to Excel and then again import to your development environment and start further activity quickly. So I think yeah, so we covered this part. Then I will take back uh, control and share my screen. Okay, yeah. So as we seen the demo, so uh, this is a chance for you to. So if you would like to request a demo to our tool, then you can reach out us on the website, or you can directly write to Carniq, carAISuite at carniq.ai, and then we can define the scope within less than a week effort. uh, we can sign the NDA, and the required document we can exchange. If everything goes well, then we'll get started with the demo. So I think yes, so we are pretty much done on time. Then we are open to have any question anybody has, then we can discuss it. So let me just open shortly the Q&A part. Great. I do not see any question yet. Since it's webinar, so your mic is disabled. So please, if you have any question, then you can use the Q&A, and then we can answer if you have any questions. Okay, I think I believe then there is no questions, and everything is clear. So of course you can also find this webinar on YouTube later. If you have further questions or any point of time, then please reach out to us. Then thanks a lot for joining today's webinar. Then please stay tuned our all the social media platform. We will provide you the latest update what's happening in our tool, and we'll also see what's coming next. So thanks a lot for joining and have a nice rest of the day, evening. Thanks a lot. Bye bye.
Thank you, everyone. Bye bye.